What is a hero? A mythological figure, often of divine descent, endowed with great strength or ability? An illustrious warrior? No. It's a person admired for achievements and noble qualities, one who shows great courage. Welcome to the What's a Hero podcast, where we dive deep into what a hero is and what makes them that hero. I'm your host, Ken Frownfelter, and I'm going to be introducing you to some of the world's most likely and unlikely heroes. You may have never heard of them before, and they most likely have never met you. But they all have one thing in common. They are ready to do whatever it takes to help make you better, even if it means sacrificing everything for you. Let's get into it.
This is episode 89 of the What's a Hero podcast with me, Ken Frownfelter. You ever meet those people who have done so many things that you're wondering, did they have an extra life, or did they have extra time to do the things that you only wish that you could have done, or you could have wished that, or you thought, how do I get into something like that? It's too late for me. I'm already at this age. I can't do so many things, or whatever the case may be. They must have started when they were 5 years old or whatever. You meet those people and you start wondering how do they get to where they are, right? And we've talked to a lot of people on the podcast that have done a lot of things. They've seen a lot of stuff. They've been through a lot of things. They've suffered through some things, or they've persevered and survived and championed through things. And you as you talk with these people, they should inspire us. They should motivate us to become something better, something, our version of that. And we're all different. We're all seen. We all try to compare ourselves to somebody, but we're different. And we see ourselves differently than we really are sometimes. And we can't hold ourselves to somebody else's, whatever it is they've done. But on the other side of that, we can hold ourselves to the ability that we have, knowing that if somebody else is able to strive and become that they wanted to do, we can strive to become that which we want to do also, or we want to become also. And today I have a guest on that is just that way. He's one of those guys that has done a million things, that has seen a million things, that has been there. And I'm not going to say he's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, but he may very well have the t-shirt or the hat or whatever you might want to call it as the consolation prize for having survived through it. But nevertheless, did he survive it? He also persevered through it and holds that as a building block as to the person that he is. He's a former sheriff deputy. He was on hostage negotiation team. He was on SWAT, or he was a hostage negotiator for SWAT. Sorry. He was organized crime detective. He worked narcotics interdiction at the airport. He's a tactics field instructor, field force supervisor, patrol supervisor, bodyguard. He's got several life-saving awards. He's got letters of commendation up the wazoo. He was featured on Cops back in 1989 for several seasons, which marks something special for us, is because this is the second Cops star that we've had on this show, which is pretty cool. He's also the author of 5 books. He was in the Army. He's a veteran of the Army. He was a military police at the time. He was, like I said, he was a bodyguard in the music entertainment industry, and he currently loves his life living in the sunshine state of Florida right now. And with that, I've got so many more things. We got questions we got to ask, and we got to hear about this guy's life. And so I want to welcome to the show Glen Topping. How are you, sir?
Hi, Ken. Thanks very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. You've got so many things. I don't know if we're going to be able to fit them all on one podcast. We're going to have 17 of them or so.
That's fine with me.
You're retired. You got stuff. You got time, huh?
Yes.
So who is Glen? Who is Glen Topping? Who's this guy that we need to know about?
Well, Glen is a guy that, growing up in New York, believed in service to the community and to the country. I kind of followed in my father's footsteps. He was a sergeant in the Army Air Corps during World War II. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, I myself joined the Army and went into the military police. And I did that for about 6 years. I was a sergeant stationed in Germany. And I figured, well, let me continue my service a little bit later on. And by joining with the local police department, which turned into the sheriff's office eventually. And I've just followed my career path as a service related person from a little kid up until retirement with the sheriff's office.
Nice. So, well, let's go way back in time then. Who was Glenn? Who was little Glenn as a little kid? What did he do? What did he go outside doing? What was his desire as a kid? I mean, was he rough and tumble? Was he sickly and weak? I'm not going to bet it's that one. But who was little Glenn?
Oh, little Glenn. Well, we're going back a few years.
Yeah.
Little Glenn liked to be outside all the time. I had, terrific parents. I had 2 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
I liked to be out all the time. Back then, obviously, there was no computers and no iPads and cell phones. So everything you did was outside.
Mm-hmm.
You took your life in your hands when you went to the local park and you drank out of the water hose for water.
But everybody
no water
did
fountains
it.
Around.
Right.
Everybody did it, right?
Yeah.
Played a little stoop ball, played some stick ball, some handball.
And this is in New York, right?
This is in New York, in Queens, New York.
Uh-huh.
Right. This is like in the late 50s, early 60s.
Mm.
Well, life was totally different back then.
Yeah.
Had a lot of good friends. I went on local schools, made a lot of friends, hung out with them every day after school, and stayed with them up until today. I'm still friends with 3 or 4 of them for about the last 60.
That's cool. What? That's a rarity to find people that still from being a kid. I've got one friend that I still know from being a kid. Otherwise, I don't think I've talked to. You got cousins and family members, but those kids that you hung around with, palled around with, that's few and far between.
They live here in South Florida. Well, one recently moved out of state, but I've known them for at least 60 years, all 3 or 4 of them.
That's awesome, man. That is so cool. So you're outside playing. You're outside just getting in fights and riding your bikes and playing stickball and getting rough and tumble, like I said. As you start going through school, you played ball, I'm assuming, during school? Did you play sports and whatnot, or?
Not really. I wasn't really into the sports playing with the school. If anything, we played after school with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Played a little baseball. I used to hang around with a lot of the local cops because they used to be on my block because I lived not too far from a school.
Mm.
So they used to drive around, and they were 2-man cars back then. Well, they still are in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started talking with these guys as a little kid because I used to watch all the cop shows on TV
Adam
back in the 60s.
Well, the 60s were even...
The 60s was
pre-Adam 12.
Highway Patrol. Adam 12 was in the 70s.
Yeah.
Right? So I was watching those. And this was like a really kind of a cool, fun job, although it's not really like that like it is on TV.
Right.
I used to hang out and talk to these guys when they down the street and, hey, how's it going? What's going on today? And they, nothing, kid. It's good, quiet. So I just kind of every once in a while would talk with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of got me interested later on as I got older to maybe, it was a big maybe, getting into police work.
Mm, right. What was the trepidation? What was the maybe about?
I really don't even remember. It was just like, do I really want to do this job? I'm sure my mom was probably not be very happy with it.
True.
My dad was like, hey, do what you want. He was an old military guy. He was fought in the war.
As long as you're doing something, you're not a bum. You're good.
I'm not a bum.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have any plans on being a bum,
Good
and
deal.
that wasn't in my DNA. So eventually, I went down, and when I got to the age to join the military, I told my parents, I said, listen, I'm going to go into the military police.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to pursue a policing career. And I was only 19 at the time. So, of course, my mom goes, you sure you want to do this? My dad goes, when are you leaving?
Right, of course. Get out.
So I did.
Yeah.
I went through basic training like everybody else. I went through advanced training, and I went to MP school in Fort Gordon, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I graduated from MP school, I got my first assignment, which was in Nuremberg, Germany.
What year was that?
Now, unbeknownst to me, on the road initially.
Oh. What year?
73.
73. Okay. So
1973.
Did you get the chance of getting of just missing Vietnam at this point? Because it went to 74.
Vietnam was winding down. They weren't sending anybody else over there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. But for my short time when I was in basic training, the Arab-Israeli war was starting up, and it was the 7-day war.
Right.
So our battalion got picked just to start do desert training because they figured we were going to go over there. But during our training, the war ended, so we never went. 7-day war, right?
Right.
Yeah. So eventually, when I got shipped over to Germany, unbeknownst to me, my first year, I got stuck in the stockade, which is the pre-trial confinement facility in Nuremberg, Germany, which I didn't really plan on being a corrections officer.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So,
but I had to do my time.
You get stuck in the stockade as a guard, not as a
right.
Okay.
Right. You were the military police, but you were corrections.
Right.
And then a sergeant's exam came up about a little under a year later, and I took it and I got made sergeant, and I got transferred to road patrol, which is where I wanted to be.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I finished my time as a sergeant of road patrol in Nuremberg, Germany.
And so did you do 4 years, 5 years in the Army?
Yeah, I did total 6 years. A couple of them were in active reserve when I was back stateside. But when I was over there, I had a blast over there. I had a good time.
That's cool. And so when you do your time in the Army, you get out. We're looking at 79 about ish, correct?
Right.
And
yes.
Did you have an idea what you were going to do as soon as you got out? Was it planned out?
Yeah, I did. But I kind of let it go for another couple of years. I was working in security jobs. I worked in this rock and roll club as a bouncer. That's where I got to meet Johnny Depp for the first time, by the way.
Oh,
he used to play there, the house band.
Ah.
All right. And then after a short time there, that was in late, I think about 1980. I stayed there for a couple of years, and then I decided, and maybe it's my time. I'm getting old. I got to compete with these young kids now in police academy. So I said, all right, let me go. So I decided to go, and I started working as a reserve officer with a small department. And I did that for about 4 or 5 months until they hired me on full time. And I got sent to the regular full-time academy. Then I became a police officer. And then about a year and a half, 2 years later, our little city merged with the sheriff's office. And we all became deputy sheriffs, which was much better. We all got a big pay raise, a lot more opportunities, a take-home car, benefits better.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And sheriff's office, I took the sergeant's test. I made sergeant, and 25 years later, retired as a sergeant.
Nice. Now, going back a little bit, you grew up in Queens, you grew up in New York, you go in the Army.
Yes.
When you left the Army, did you choose, hey, I'm going to Florida, or did you say I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to see what I got there? Or how did the transition down south work?
Well, when I got out of the military, I stayed in New York for a while. And then my best friend goes, listen, he just got out of the Air Force. So listen, why don't we go down to Miami for a while? I never been there. He used to go there all the time. It's like, okay, let's go. So we got on the plane, hit Miami, and stayed in Miami for a while.
And as
this is really cool.
As young guys just out of the Army, you had a pocket full of cash and more time than sense, huh?
Sure. Oh yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. We rented some scooters, drove all over the place. Met a lot of people. And he goes, hey, what do you think about going to school down here? I go, well, I never thought about it, but it's a whole lot better than New York is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we went home, and a short time later, we decided, hey, we'll go to Miami. We'll go to a community college in Miami. So we both of us skipped our high school graduation because he had to go down to Miami and get set up.
Ah.
So we're AWOL from that. We got our diplomas delivered to us, or mailed to us. We had to go find an apartment and get the utilities set up, and then go register at school and see what we got to do, and then I wound up staying there.
Okay, because you just fell in love with the area, huh?
Oh yeah,
that's cool. So you're doing all this stuff during the time, but you didn't just go and spend 25 years as a police officer or as a deputy sheriff, and that was it. There's more to it than that, I'm gonna guess, right? It's you go through all the academy and you go through all that stuff like that, but that's a fully packed bag right there. It's not
okay. Well, while in the sheriff's office, I got tagged to be on the TV show Cops. All right. And my chief calls me in, and I go in his office, and there's a guy in his suit there. I'm thinking like, oh, what I do?
Uh-huh.
All right. So he goes, this guy is a so and so with this TV show they're doing called Cops.
Mm-hmm.
I go, what's that? They go, well, they drive around with you on patrol and they film everything you do, and they have carte blanche. You just do your job and they'll film it. So he goes, are you interested in doing it? I said, yeah, it sounds like fun, because I was a very aggressive cop on the road. So they wanted somebody that wasn't just going to sit on the street corner all day.
Right. So that's how you got picked.
That's how I got picked.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So I had the cops crew ride with me for about maybe about 7 or 8 days, on and off.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the cameraman was in the front seat.
Mm-hmm.
The sound technician was in the back seat. And whatever call we went on, they would film it. And they said, just go about your normal thing. Don't forget about us being here. Don't play up to the camera, basically.
Uh-huh.
Right. So we did. And throughout their time with me, I got into a couple of good car chases, a couple of good fights, a couple of chases. And then, about a week or two later, started to air these episodes.
Yeah.
It was kind of wild seeing yourself and thinking, I really was a jerk that day. Yeah, nothing changed.
Yeah. And did anything change after seeing yourself on there and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, whatever? Or did you say, yeah, I like what I did there, I'm going to do that again, or anything like that happen?
Well, a couple of times I got in trouble with some of the brass.
Oh yeah.
Because I did certain things like that they still filmed and put on air. And they go, we don't do that, Glenn. Right.
Sure.
But otherwise, it was pretty well taken. Some was comical stuff, some were very serious issues.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the boundaries of what I could and couldn't do, really. But if I stepped over it a little bit, I heard about it.
Right.
They weren't shy to tell me.
Right. And that was in 1989, right? And you were working
in 1989, yeah.
Fort Lauderdale at the time.
That was the Broward County Sheriff's Office.
Broward County Sheriff. Okay. All right. See, now the only reason I'm clarifying that because I need to go back and watch them. I got to go see these episodes. I'm sure I can find them somewhere.
Yeah, they're on YouTube.
I've had Randy Sutton on. He was I'm sure you may know him. He was on Cops several episodes as well down over in Las Vegas, and so
I was on his podcast a couple of months ago.
Oh yeah, I've had him on here as well, and good guy. I've supported him in his efforts with the Wounded Blue. They're great organization. So
yes,
so you're getting on Cops now. Talking about Randy, he had a part where his bosses said, okay, we're going to have somebody else do it, or we don't want him on there or whatever anymore. And he said, well, how come? And he said that his boss came to him and said, well, this isn't the Randy show. Did you have anything like that?
Oh.
Did your bosses come on like, hey, you've been on too many? And no, they were all good about it.
No, because it wasn't 1 week straight of Glen Topping.
Okay.
It was like a snippet here, a snippet there. Then they showed another city, and then they came back to us. And no, it was nothing like that. Our sheriff was very pro the Cops TV show.
That's cool.
And you get a good time with it. Old Sheriff Nick Navarro.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you learned a lot by doing that about yourself, about how other things work, and just getting to see yourself from a different.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. You're outside looking in as to this is what I look like to other people doing this job.
Right.
It was kind of interesting to see, this is me. I'm really doing this. It doesn't feel like I'm doing that when I'm doing it.
Right.
But when you're seeing yourself doing it, it's like, oh, I really do that.
Right. And I'm assuming sitting there with your family or with your friends or whatever, and they're watching that, you're getting to see their reactions to how you were.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I didn't realize you were doing that.
Oh, yeah, they were laughing.
Yeah, I bet.
They had a good laugh. Oh, yeah.
You have barbecues and everybody's watching, sitting around TV watching that. Like, no, can we do something else? Yeah. So you get to do that.
One of my bosses even saw me over, I think.
Was that?
Go ahead.
Say that again.
I said one of my bosses even saw me, so he was overseas in a foreign country, and they had me dubbed in that language on the show.
You got some kind of accent, or you got some kind of, you're speaking a different language, and that's funny. That would be really weird to look at. So,
yes, so pretty weird.
And you did that. You had several weeks of that, and then you went back to just normal time and just being a copper, being on the road.
Yeah. Then the crew went. Yeah, the crew went to somewhere else, and then the chief asked me. He got approached by the sheriff and asked if they had anybody that wants to go and join the organized crime unit. They had an opening. So again, my boss called me in. He goes, "You're interested in doing this? You're going to be working undercover narcotics, probably at the airport and the bus terminals and stuff."
Right.
So I got taken off the street and met with the bosses at the organized crime unit, and told me what my responsibilities are going to be with my group.
Mm-hmm.
And we basically worked at the airport mainly, looking for the guys coming in with drugs, shipping them up north, or catching people coming down from up north with a lot of cash.
And was that kind of a hub between what Cuba or any of the Caribbean islands or whatever come through there, and then heading northward? Is that right?
Yeah, we had a lot from Jamaica and from obviously from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
As well as a lot of people coming down from north, mainly out of New York, coming down to buy dope here and then bring it back up there.
And
along with other items we caught people with guns coming through the airport, silencers for guns, getting kilos of cocaine and marijuana getting put on the airplane.
Right.
It was during the cocaine cowboy days of the 80s.
Yeah, the mid late 80s, right? And you're looking at everything that we saw Don Johnson doing, right? Cocaine and
right.
Yeah, I'm sure we had heroin or whatever, but it wasn't as big as it is now. And
no, it was mainly coke
and weed, huh?
And big money.
Yeah, and then obviously the guns and stuff like that. That's always it's always going to be a thing. I'm thinking, but so you're in there, and that was I'm assuming a plainclothes detail.
Yes, and plainclothes, unmarked cars. Every other 4 or 5 days, I was in a different car because my neighbors couldn't know what I was doing. They thought I worked for a used car lot.
Because you're driving home with it.
Because of the organized crime unit, it was a separate building away from the agency, and you couldn't be in uniform anywhere near that place. Or have any marked cars at all near that place.
Yeah, anybody sees you're toast. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so you go in there and you deal with these guys, and you're talking I just said, Miami Vice or whatever. That's the same people that you're dealing with. Those big drug runners, those, like you said, Jamaican guys.
Yeah, we would stop a deal and interfere with a deal coming out of the south through the airport. And then if it was a big seizure, we would get DEA involved in it. And then DEA would pick up the case, and they would be the front man on the case. And then we would take the bad guy with the dope and continue it to wherever it was going. And usually it was going up into New York. So we'd be on the airplane with the dope and the bad guy and the DEA agents. And we would continue the deal until we get the guy in New York.
Oh, wow.
So a couple of times I had to dress up as a UPS and a FedEx guy and deliver the dope.
and you got along. You did well in the New York side because you still have your little bit of a New York accent. You knew your way around and how the culture of New York ran. Right. Yeah.
So we even broke up a nice big coke lab across from St. John's University in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back then.
Wow.
Sheriff was happy because they don't get too many coke labs back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually it was made elsewhere and then they brought it here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a good pop.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And how long did you do that?
Did that for just about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the road, or?
Oh yeah, went back on the road as patrol sergeant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you said you made a ton of friends doing that. Made a lot of good connections and stuff. Huh?
Oh sure.
Yeah. When you went back to the road, was it just a little bit weird? I mean, you're going from wearing regular clothes every day, growing your beard long probably or whatever, and then now you're going back. You got to clean shave. You got to wear a uniform every day. You got to.
Yeah, but it was. But I still continued doing a lot of undercover stuff with the guys on the road. We just changed out and put on plain clothes and took an unmarked car, and went out and did a prostitution sting or a coke or a crack sting.
Mm-hmm.
I was always get involved in something like that. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool. Obviously the good stuff happened during that time, huh? I mean, because that's not an everyday sort of thing where you get to be somebody else, or you get to kind of wait there, and then you see the bad thing happen, and you get to pounce on that, and that's just that's not an everyday thing to get to do that. You have to be a little bit sneaky. You got to be a little bit on your toes, really watching out for what's going on.
But it's kind of ironic is that when we used to do our drug stings, especially for crack stings,
Mm-hmm.
on one side of the street we'd be doing the dealing. We'd have our undercover guys selling the dope, and we'd be down the street, in our unmarked cars, waiting for the signal to move in.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of the street, which happened to be a different city, they would set up their chairs and their tables and watch the deals go down, and it was like a TV show for them.
Really?
They would watch everything go down, but we told them you can watch, but if you open your mouth, you're going to go to jail. All right. And they go, no, man, we just want to see what these idiots do out here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they. I mean, they're just idiots for just doing that. They know exactly, and they're just ruining their own neighborhoods. They're ruining their own culture and their own people, and yet they just continue to do it, which is so weird. I don't.
It is weird
because they're so addicted to the drugs, but the money as well. I mean, you see a lot of people that are just they're hurting on the inside, being that have that desire for the drugs and the money.
Sure, they just live for the next rock. That's it. They can rip off somebody for $10 to $15. They were at the point they were selling rocks, like little pebbles on the street, to the dummy white boys that had gone there to buy it. And then the idiot white boys that were buying the fake rock would come and complain to the cops that, hey, they sold this big bad dope.
Yeah, they start complaining about the kind of dope they're getting when they can't be doing that anyways. So
yeah, they were sold a pebble.
Jeez. So do you remember any kind of like the people that did you ever see anybody that was able to get through that position of being so destitute for their drugs or for their money or for their lifestyle, their addiction, and then actually see them move out of that and actually become a success story in their own right?
Yeah, I've had a couple of people over the years that have arrested them so many times for the same thing. Like, like I say, and I had a very good rapport with these people in this part of town.
Mm-hmm.
I said, listen, when are you going to stop this? Are you going to find you dead in the street, or are you going to be in prison for life? Which way do you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
You go, no, I'm just so addicted. So you need to get yourself some help. So while goes by, and I would see the guy walking around, and I go, hey man, how you doing? You holding anything today? I go, no man, I haven't done anything in weeks. I want to thank you for arresting me and making me get counseling. Through the jail, they offered counseling.
Right.
I said, what do you do? I'm working now. I'm working at a car wash down the street. I said, great. Hey, listen,
cool.
I don't care what you're doing. You can dig ditches. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You're making a decent living or decent money. It's keeping you. And I said, stay away from those other jerks. So that's going to drag you down. And yeah, Sarge, don't worry about it. I'm not going to get dirty again. I promise. If you see me do something, beat my ass.
They're asking for accountability. Yeah, I saw a couple yesterday. Matter of fact, I was on patrol, and I saw them. I stopped at a stoplight. They get up next to me, and they honk at me, and I just turn my head, and I see them. They're waving at me, and I remember years ago they were just the dirty. One guy was just homeless, and he's just freezing, and he's just drugs is. Just sucked up because of drugs. She was the same way. They weren't together necessarily, but they met. They knew each other because of their lifestyle. But they met. Right. They went to what's called drug court, and I know you guys. You're familiar with that because drug court, National Drug Court, started in Miami. It started in South Florida. So I used to be the police officer on the drug court in our area, and so these two they became such success stories in their own right that they were able to. Became counselors. They became peers to other people that are in addiction counseling and all that stuff like that. And they both looked so healthy. They looked both like, success stories, literally. And I rolled the window down. I said, "You guys look great." We had time at the stoplight and whatever, and they're like, man, we feel so good. I mean, they weren't.
I bet
they didn't look like they were jittery. They weren't looking for anything. They were just regular people who are, they work a job. They love their family. They love their life. I mean, they both became, and they fell in love with each other, and they're good people now. And they honestly, they knew where they came from. They knew who they were before, and they said, we don't ever want to go back to that again. And
drug court did a lot of good things for a lot of people.
Agreed. Yeah. You see a lot of success stories coming out of there. And
you would never think somebody you knew doing dope for like 50 years, all of a sudden they're like, oh, look at you.
Right. Right. And, there's this big old thing that say, hey, and it's just this push across the country anymore. And, I live in Oregon, and Oregon's one of the worst offenders in this, but there's this push to, let's make drugs legal and let people do drugs and not hold them accountable for it. And then what do they do? Nothing. They don't have any accountability. And so now we don't have any reason to, you don't have any reason to not do drugs, because you got to have some kind of, it's a bad thing. And if you have a reason to not do it, you're going to get better.
I mean, who thinks of these policies? They're just unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it.
We think they're going to, so you create a drug area so you can do your own drug use. I mean, you can't have, when you run out of drugs, then you're going to start committing theft and burglary and robbery to feed that drug habit so you can be back on that corner doing legal drugs.
Right.
I mean, come on.
and I don't think they understand that. I think they think, well, let's just go ahead and we got to give these people whatever they want because it's an addiction. It's a sickness. You're right. It is a sickness, but it's a sickness that you have to hold them down and keep them from going after and hurting themselves with this thing, not give them more access to it. You give more access to it, they're just going to kill themselves with it. And which you see that with the opioid crisis that we have now.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody's dying of fentanyl and heroin.
Oh, it's crazy. It's horrible.
And I'm assuming it's the same thing in South Florida as it is anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, except you don't see too much of it down here, right? Because we have a very strong law and order governor who doesn't put up with any BS.
Yeah, I really know a lot of people that are impressed with that man. That's awesome to see that and to see him doing that.
Yeah.
And you see the people coming out of there, and you still get those stories. You'll still see those news stories that are Florida man. If it starts with Florida man, it's something about, some guy wrestled a gator before robbing a convenience store and, whatever.
Oh, yeah, there's always something.
However, those are anomalies because it's so rare because it's such a fanciful story, But everybody's got these. You're not hearing about the major deaths and the major overdoses and stuff like that because of opioids and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
So you were doing that. You were doing interdiction, but you said you were also a SWAT team member. Is that right? Yeah,
I was a negotiator on SWAT for 13 years.
And was that during the same time frame, or was after or before?
That was probably from around 1990 to 13 years after that.
And
so eventually I became the lead negotiator on the team.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun. Had a good time.
You get to negotiate some good guys out?
Some good guys out. Some good guys didn't make it out.
Yeah. Because of their own doing, their own decision making abilities.
Yeah, they made that wrong move.
Right. Now, were you actually a boot on the ground on some of those, or did you stay in the mobile command center or whatever, just negotiating?
It really depended. It depended on the situation. I could have been in the command post. I could have been across the street behind a car. I could have been in the house down the street. Mm-hmm. It depended on every situation was really different. I didn't like being too far away where I couldn't see where I was looking.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be in the command post and go, that's nice, sitting at a computer, that's nice. But I'd rather be outside, down the street, peeking around a car, looking through a house window, so I know where I'm looking.
Looking at like technology advancement from now, so you're looking at, by the time you finished with that, it was 2003 maybe. It's been almost 20 years since you did that.
I'm sure it's changed a lot.
Could you imagine having a cell phone that you could throw into there, or having a robot be able to roll in there and have cameras?
Well, we did. We had the SWAT team had a robot that was equipped with a camera or a shotgun. We had a hostage throw phone it was a phone that was just connected between the command post and the bad guy.
It was hardwired, right?
It was hardwired.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But could you imagine? Having that cell phone or a drone even being able to fly in there and see over where this guy's at.
I don't even know what they had. They probably have all sorts of gadgets today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got. However, I'll tell you, our department, we just transitioned from an actual physical throw phone. We actually still have it. We don't use it as much, but because everybody has a cell phone, we should be able to get a hold of them. But that hardwired throw phone makes the guys have to sneak up to the house, get it in the window or the door or whatever, and then back out.
Oh, that's what I had the robot for too.
Right. Yeah. I guess that would.
Yeah.
Were they a little bigger and clunkier back then?
They were, yeah, probably about this. Yeah, probably a little bigger and clunkier back then.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, so you get to do that, and you
Oh,
saw.
no,
Oh, go ahead. What?
yeah. So maybe like the size of 2 iPads. Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
okay,
like
yeah.
the size of 2 iPads.
Yeah. Oh, that's not so bad.
No.
It's actually, I was thinking they'd be bigger back then. I don't.
No.
But all right. So you do that for that much time. You see the good stuff. You see the bad stuff.
Yep.
And you were saying that I'm during all this time between being in the SWAT team, and being a negotiator, what made you decide, okay, I'm going to get out of that and just go back to regular copping or detective work, or what was the?
I just went back. I figured I had enough of it. It was, I've seen a lot during the 13 years, getting called out all times of the day and night, taking off shift, waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning. Back then we didn't have we had pagers.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have cell phones, right?
Yeah.
So I figured 13 years, it was time to move on, maybe doing something else. So I left the team and I went back on the road as back to patrol sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing tactics instructing. What else? I initially brought in, actually going back a little bit, back in the 80s, I introduced South Florida to the DUI checkpoints. Because they didn't know what they were down here. Another state was doing them. And my boss goes, listen, why don't you see what this is all about? We need to maybe start doing that here.
Uh-huh.
So I looked into it. I got the education on it. I got the training on how to do it and all the logistics that's needed. And I introduced it to our agency. And then they started to ship me out to other agencies to show them how to do it.
Mm.
And then eventually it branched out. Now those guys, once they train the trainer kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And now a lot of agencies are doing it all over the place. Right. Plus, I started introduced our guys to doing active shooter training, which really wasn't a big thing back in the 80s.
So like scenarios and stuff like that.
Scenario type, shootouts, shootings, yeah.
Yeah, because that's not something.
That's
not something that you get to do too often. I mean, that's invaluable. It's huge.
I got with later on, I got with my SWAT guys and go, listen, we're going to put this active shooter training together.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I need your help in it because you're the guys that do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to do the training on it. And I started with my shift. I started small first with my shift, and then eventually it went to the whole district. And then now the whole agencies are doing them. It's a big thing now to do it. Back then it wasn't a big deal, and now it is.
Yeah, it is. It's huge, and it's cross country. I mean, I talk to guys all the time, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we do, use sim rounds." And they've really advanced those sim rounds, so it feels and looks. I mean, the gun in your hand feels like your regular patrol pistol.
It hurts.
Yeah, and it hurts, but it stings, but it's not killing you. Yeah, and so it's very valuable. I think.
No, it's not killing you.
Having that ability to get into that and feel the stress and feel the worry, and having the smells. It's not exactly the same smell, but chasing somebody down, chasing a gunman down that you're being told, hey, they're trying to shoot kids or whatever the case may be. You can't recreate that to actually, because not everybody gets in those, but you want to be ready in case you ever do have to get in one of those.
It's hard when you're stepping over the dying to go get the bad guy because you can't stop and get the dying.
Right.
You got to say, I'm sorry, you might die, but I got to get the bad guy. He's still shooting.
Right. And you got
it's a hard thing to live with.
Role players who are screaming, help me, help me.
Yeah.
And they got fake blood poured on them or whatever, and you're like, I have to go to where the shots are because more people are dying, and you're talking, so you're still alive. I know it hurts, but you're alive. And it's
horrible. It's a horrible. It's a horrible decision I have to make.
And I guess along those lines, did we? I didn't start being a cop until 2007, but how was it back in the 90s? Where was because I know we had Columbine, we had. Springfield, we had all these other cities in the United States back in the 90s that had their active shooters. But what was the general consensus on that? Like, oh, that'll never happen here, or was that that could happen here? What was that back then, especially in South Florida?
I think it was more leaning towards it could happen here, but it hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to be caught flat-footed if it does happen here.
Right.
I mean, like the Parkland shooting where they killed 17 and injured 17. It's just a few minutes from where I live,
Mm.
right? So I live in the city of Deerfield Beach. I was in the city of Parkland.
Hmm.
But when I started doing the training, I got with my chief and I go, listen, if we're going to do a scenario, I want it to be as realistic as possible. Get everybody in the world involved in it. Don't tell anybody about that we're doing it. Not going to notify the news people. Not going to notify anybody.
Hmm.
It's just something that happens, and however they respond to it is going to how they respond to it. Right? If there's a
Right.
shooting somewhere, they're not going to say, "Hey, we have a shoot. Call the news. We have a shooting going on."
Right.
No, people are caught off guard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and it caused and really my training that day caused a lot of problems,
Oh, really? Like,
but they were teachable problems, right?
okay. Like what kind?
You know?
Like what kind?
Well, because when we did the school, we used one of our local schools. I think it was on a Saturday.
Mm.
We got a whole bunch of kids involved. Got the teachers okay to do it. With the school was located right across the street from a big hospital, right?
Hmm.
We put them on notice because we didn't want to interfere with anything going on there.
Right.
I had our helicopter units involved. A couple of SWAT teams involved, and then the call comes out of shots fired at the school,
Uh-huh.
and other police cars are racing to the scene. We notified the helicopter unit. They're flying overhead. The people that are working in the area, there's businesses around. They didn't know what was going on. We didn't notify anybody about that.
Right.
There was traffic backing up, people getting blocked off by emergency vehicles, numerous ambulances coming to the school, and people are thinking, "Oh no, we had a shooting at a school."
Yeah. It's Saturday though,
Right?
guys.
It's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Well, they could have had an event going on
Sure.
in the school. So we had the helicopter land on the field, pick up some of the injured,
Uh-huh.
while the couple of the SWAT teams moved in and cleared out the school. Meanwhile, we still kept traffic blocked off, and that pissed off a lot of people.
I'll bet. I'll bet.
Right? We had the helicopter make trips to and from the hospital, pick up and drop off constantly. So you know how it's going to be, and if in fact something does really happen.
Right.
Now, of
Right.
course, today it's a lot more involved.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
But back then it wasn't involved because we really didn't see it down here.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And
And that's what I told my boss. If we do it, we're going to do it. We're not going to notify anybody. Because that's good. Go ahead and do it.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, and like you said, there's issues, but they were teachable, and they were able to be like, oh, I see where we're deficient in our response or whatever, right?
Yeah, because our after action report showed everything that we could have done better
Mm-hmm.
or not done at all.
Right.
Right.
And you start looking at like, hey, we could have had, if this was real, 50 people could have been killed or whatever if we didn't.
Yeah.
It's,
Right.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty good in the end.
And you had kids as role players and whatnot?
Yeah, we took a lot of the kids. They took it as like extra credit for school.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would, and it's got to be fun. You get to play. Oh, help me! I'm, whatever. And kids they'll ham that up too, especially if they're all into the getting a mess and whatever. Pour red corn syrup on them or whatever it is.
Yeah, they had actually one of my guys was a crime scene tech.
Yeah,
and he was good with making old bullet wounds and stab wounds look good.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of cool. And and we'll do that now. However, we don't have it as there's not the bullet wounds and all that stuff like that aren't as Hollywoodish, but the kids now they're taking photos and they got their phones out and they're recording and stuff like that, seeing how they are, and they'll post it on their TikToks or whatever. And
of course,
and now, but back then that wasn't necessarily the case. Those kids
you didn't have phones.
Yeah, you just have their their mind is remembering
Right.
that, and I wonder what the over under is on that, as far as some of them growing up to get into first responder service, whether medical or fire,
you never
police,
know.
whatever. Yeah,
You would think maybe some of them did.
that would be cool. That could have been the tipping point to see, like, hey, I really got to know who these guys are, and I got to see how police really act. They're not some, distant thing like you had that interaction with the cops when you were a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I started doing a lot of community policing back in the 80s when they really didn't know what that was here
Oh yeah.
in South Florida. You really didn't know what is community policing? What does that mean?
Right. Yeah.
So we started walking the neighborhoods, in the not so nice areas,
Mhm.
to two-man teams,
Mhm.
and meet with the shop owners, drop off business cards. You see anything, call me. This might, you have to page me.
Yeah.
Right? Or call the office
Right.
and say what you see. And it worked out pretty good. So it's, because down here, there was no such thing as a walking beat, not like it is in New York.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Down here, everything was in a car or on bicycle. That
Right.
was it. So all of a sudden, in the little downtown area of the city, you see a couple of cops walking around. Like, what's going on? What happened?
Yeah, what are you guys doing out of your car?
Are they being punished?
It's a nice day. We're getting some air and we're meeting some people.
Right.
Yeah,
It worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it really makes a difference when you get out of your car and you meet some people. It
It
really
does make a difference.
Yeah, people
You
know
break that wall down because if right there you have the wall, your car and them, and they're outside the window.
Right.
Right.
Right. And there's some people, and I get it. There's some people that are not. They're not officer friendly. They're officer tactical, and that's cool.
Yeah.
We need those
You
guys.
need them too. Sure, absolutely.
You know what? But you gotta. That doesn't mean officer friendly can't be officer tactical. But
No.
at the same time, you have to have that. Our job is to be friendly enough, or be community minded enough to be willing to. What is your problem? What are the problems you're seeing? Because you need the people to be willing to call it in.
Absolutely.
Because we don't see everything as much as we like to think we do.
Not.
So
No.
that makes a huge difference. And so you go through that, and between working interdiction, working SWAT, working investigations, and then getting back on patrol. How long were you back on patrol? And did you retire out of being on patrol, or did you retire out of?
I retired. I retired in 2009. I did my 25 years.
Uh-huh.
I could have stayed longer, but they were doing a buyout at the time. They were paying everybody to get out, basically.
Oh, really?
So they paid me all my time I had on the books, which was a nice big check when I left.
I'm sure that hurt your feelings.
It did.
Yeah.
It was good because I paid off my house and all my cars. I had no more bills.
Uh-huh. Yeah, bummer,
So it came in handy. Yeah, it was horrible. I hate it. Yes, I retired as a sergeant. They got my, I went to a little ceremony. They wanted to give me a roll call.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my retired badge and ID and said goodbye.
Yeah. Was it one of those things that was hard to pull away from?
In a way it was, because you had to get up at a certain time, be somewhere at a certain time, and be responsible for this and that. As the road sergeant, you got involved. Everything was dumped on you as the patrol sergeant.
Right.
And now all of a sudden I could wake up tomorrow and go, gee, I don't have to get up. I don't see my police car out front anymore. Did somebody steal it?
Yeah, it's like when you're a kid again, you're on summer vacation. You wake up.
Exactly.
What do I do?
Yeah. So really, the only thing I really missed was my take-home car, because I didn't own a car for like over 25 years. I used to go to everybody got a take-home car. Now I had to drive. My wife had a car. So I had to start driving that.
Yeah.
So it was tough putting gas on my own car and paying for my own maintenance and tires.
Yeah, that's an expense you didn't have.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So you get it. You start doing it. What do you start doing? Because you don't seem like the type of guy that's like, okay, I'm just going to go play golf and do nothing. You had to do something.
I don't play
right?
golf anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
You had to go do something.
For a couple of months, I really didn't do anything. I didn't want to. I was just wanted to take a break from work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw this ad in this paper. They were looking for it was called Air Security Officer. So I didn't know what the heck that was. I interviewed for it down in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was is you were you worked on a law enforcement flight with ICE doing deportation flights at a Miami airport every day, going to a different country every day, dropping off the illegals, and then coming back home.
Really? So you
it
come
was
back
a
on an
federal
empty
law
plane.
enforcement. Sometimes you have to bring somebody back, but routinely it was an empty plane. So we would drive around. We would fly around to certain parts of the country, picking up, and also out of Miami, and then dropping off in wherever it could have been. It was in Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, San Salvador, South America, Jamaica, Cuba, not Cuba, and other parts of the states.
Right.
And so there was a bunch of guards on the plane. There was an ICE agent, regular flight crew, flight attendants, a flight mechanic, and a flight medic. And the guys on the plane, the illegals, they were handcuffed to a belly chain and leg ironed and set on plane. It was just like the movie Con Air.
Oh, yeah.
Except without the cages in the plane.
Right. Without the crazy, mean, nasty guys. Just
and they were mean and nasty guys. They were.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you got to go to these other countries, but did you get off the plane at all? You didn't really get to set foot on the ground, or?
No, we weren't allowed to leave the airport. We had to stay around the airplane. We can go into the terminal. We couldn't go any further than that.
Right. So you can say, I've been to El Salvador or San Salvador or Guatemala or whatever, but you haven't
Right,
really been to there.
Right.
You've been on their ground before, but not.
Yeah. Sometimes I would call my wife and go, because we weren't allowed to tell anybody where we were going until we landed.
Uh-huh. How long did you do that?
I did that for about 2 years.
Uh-huh. And what, you'd be gone for a week or two at a time, I'm guessing?
Oh, no, it was a daily trip.
Oh, daily.
Go back, real early in the morning, leave about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, do the trip, come back around 6 o'clock at night, and then do it again the next day.
Was it every day sort of thing, or do you work?
It was almost, well, not quite every day. It was like you do work 2 days, and you had a day didn't do anything. Then you work 3 more days, and it was a full plane all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. You do that for 2 years, and
Yes.
you choose to get out of that? Something else came up, or?
Yeah, because I was tired of going to Miami Airport every day because I live in Deerfield. It was about a 45-minute ride without traffic.
Uh-huh.
Coming back at 5 p.m, it was like 2 hours coming home.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, I had enough of this. It's enough. So a short time after that, I sort of said it was a total different job of this driving school company was starting up down here, but they only hire retired cops. So
Really?
I interviewed with this guy. He came down from Philadelphia, and I was the first guy he interviewed. And he goes, "Hey, you're hired." So that was like around 2012, I think, somewhere around there.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I'm still there today.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cool. And it's easy going enough, but it's just kind of and is it a driving school for like new drivers, or is it more advanced?
New drivers or people that need to get more training for whatever reason. And plus we give the driving test.
Okay.
So I'm certified to give the test for the state, plus do lessons, which sometimes is more hectic than being a cop.
Like, yeah, I can imagine. That's what was gonna be my next question was, how much did police work prepare you as far as the stress, the fear, the whatever, being in that seat and you're not in control?
Well, you're really not in control, although the car has a brake on the passenger side.
Uh-huh.
Right. But that's about the only control you really have. Other than when you're a cop, you have total control of everything.
Right. Well, you think you do sometimes.
But you had to have a lot of patience.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
And what helped me when I was a negotiator on SWAT was having to learn to have a lot of patience. And that carried over to what I'm doing now, because you really need a lot of patience to deal with these kids.
Right. Yeah, my wife thinks that she has a brake pedal on her side of our car as well. It's weird.
Oh, yeah, the virtual brake.
Yeah. There's a hole in the floorboard.
They all have it.
I got this. I know what I'm doing. So, looking at this whole career and all the things that you've done, at what point did you, I mean, from the Army, from the time you got out of school, let's say, at what point did you start seeing yourself as aware of who you are, what you're doing, how to do what you're doing? You became comfortable being you. At what point in your life did you see that? Was it in the Army? Was it as a police officer?
I think it was as a police officer, because you got to deal with so many things every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to approach things differently. Every situation, I'm sure responds differently.
Right.
If you have a violent case, you're going to respond basically violently back to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you have nothing that's very, very quiet and very easygoing, you're going to be an easygoing guy dealing with it.
Right.
So through life, and even now with my job now as a driving school instructor, I find myself sometimes getting very annoyed and frustrated and flustered. But then I got to draw back and I go, I'm dealing with a teenager. Okay, they don't know what they're doing. I don't want to yell and scream and curse because I'll be fired.
Right. You don't want to be that guy.
Right? Yeah. So I'm a very easygoing, laid back. My wife always told me they could put a bomb under you and you'll go, what was that? Or put a mirror under my nose, see if I'm still breathing.
Right.
Very laid back, very cool, calm, collective. Nothing really excites me.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with a guy. He's another copper, and we were talking with somebody else, and they were saying, because they were inviting us to this meeting with some community members, and they're like, hey, they can be really heated, and I'm really sorry for getting you guys into this. They just have a lot of questions in regards to whatever, and we're shrugging our shoulders. It's okay. That doesn't bother. Yeah, but they're upset about this topic here. Okay. We can easily talk it through it. And they're like, well, this doesn't bother you? You're not going to be upset. No, I mean, we see way worse.
Why would it bother you?
Yeah, we're talking to people. They're not going to attack us. They're not taking away my birthday. That doesn't bother. Yeah, it's just a thing. And I think with this lady that we were talking to about that, she was like, wow, I like that attitude. I wish I could adopt that, because I think she had a totally different view on that sort of thing or whatever. So.
Sure.
And so as a police officer at that time, you start realizing who you were. Was there any specific call or event that occurred that made you kind of wrap your mind around, oh, okay, if I start doing it this way, this was the biggest wake up for me? Did you have any of those big wake up calls early on in your career?
Well, a little bit later on in my career, my wake up call was one of my guys was killed in the line of duty on my shift.
Wow.
And that was an interesting night, to say the least.
Really? Were you willing to talk about it?
Oh yeah, I'll talk about it. No problem doing it. We were. He was a tactical guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing a lot of plainclothes, unmarked car, and him and his female partner were out there doing traffic stops, looking for stuff,
right?
Whatever they can wind up with. So I was with the kid. The kid was like 24 years old, maybe somewhere around there, 25-ish. And I'm in the roll call he's in my office in the roll call, and we're talking about what's going on, and be careful. Let me know if you get anything good. Okay, I'll see you later, Sarge. Okay. So a couple hours later, there's this girl screaming at the top of her lungs on the radio. I'm thinking, who is that? What is that? Who is this? Right? So finally it kicked in, and somebody said, oh, it's one of the deputies from the city I was working in. I go, what are they on? I didn't see them check out on anything. So then we found out where they were.
Yeah.
And when I get to the scene, they had the whole road blocked off. Another city was there also that was bordering our city. And I pull up and I see the unmarked car with its emergency lights on behind another car, like on a traffic stop on the side of the highway. And I get out and I run over. I ask one of my guys, I go, what's going on? He puts his hands up on my chest. He goes, it's Ryan. I could use his name. He's okay. That's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what happened. He got hit by a car. He's down there, about 100 feet down there. He got hit by a car and killed. Right? Like, what are you talking about? What happened? Well, he was talking to the driver of the car that they stopped, and a guy coming down the highway was watching the traffic stop and veered over and hit him and threw him about 100 feet down the road and killed him.
Man.
And then, the other deputy on the other side of the car got bumped and got knocked out, but she wasn't really hurt. Right.
Right.
So I go over and I look at the deputy laying there on the ground dead. I go, I was just talking to this kid 15 minutes ago. Right. It was like I was in a movie. It was so surreal.
Wow.
So finally I go, listen, get one of your blankets from the car, please, and cover him up. I don't want people staring at him. Right.
Right.
So they cover him up, and then the whole world responds. All the bosses from the big shots come down, and the paramedics and all this other crap. And the guy that hit him, the Florida Highway Patrol worked the fatal crash. So apparently, the guy wasn't drunk, he wasn't on the phone, he wasn't doing anything other than he was watching the traffic stop, and he was careless.
Just
because as I teach in driving, your hands follow your eyes.
Yeah.
So when you start staring at something, you can start drifting into it, and that's what he did. And he hit the guy and killed him. Right.
Jeez.
So we went through the night. It was a very long night. We had to give statements, what we did, blah blah blah.
Right.
Well, who lived down here just a few minutes from where I am, she passed away a couple of nights prior to that. Right. So the day of the funeral was the day that she was going to be laid to rest, but up north in New York.
Okay.
Right. So I go, well, what do I do? This guy, I work with this guy. I'm here. I'm not going up north. So I go, my sisters are going to take care of that. I'll go to the funeral, the deputy. So I go to the funeral, and the sheriff is walking. He's saying, hey, he's meeting everybody. And he comes up to me, and he knew me, and he liked me. And he goes, I heard your mom passed away last night. What are you doing here? I go, well, it's one of my guys who was killed here in the line of duty. What do you want me to do? Right. Right. He goes, you shouldn't be here. I go, yeah, I should. It's okay. I said, my mom would be buried. She's fine. She's taken care of. Right.
Yeah. She
So-
lived a full life. She
was almost 90 years old.
right. Yeah.
So she was going to be shipped up north. My sister would take her up north. And I figured, I'm here. What am I going to do up there?
Right.
So I stayed for the funeral. And the sheriff kind of understood, I think. It didn't matter if he did or not.
right.
Right. So after that funeral, I would hold roll calls, and the guys were still they were like in disbelief this happened. And this kid's father was a retired Fort Lauderdale cop.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell our guys a roll call, listen, when you're doing a traffic stop, don't stand on the driver's side. Stand on the passenger side, okay? Because people are morons. They're going to watch and see what you're doing, and the same thing's going to happen to you what happened to the other kid.
Right.
So just walk around the other side of the car. Don't lean in the car. Don't put your body in the car. Don't lean your hand in the car. Just stand by the window and talk to the guy. He can lean over and talk to you.
Right.
And if I catch you doing anything other than that, we're going to have a conversation you're not going to like.
Exactly.
Right. I've been to one too many cop funerals.
Man, I've talked to, when I have trainees or whatever, I'll talk to them and I'll see them go to the driver's side, or even, cops they're out solo or whatever. And I'll see them do traffic stops and go to the driver's side. My question, I'll ask them, I said, you feel comfortable doing that? I won't go up and tell them, hey, don't do that. I'll tell a trainee, don't do that. I said, I want to see you go to the passenger side.
Yeah.
But, a cop that's not on, a younger guy who's out solo, just off, field training, whatever. I'll go, you feel comfortable doing that? Yeah, I feel comfortable doing that. Consider this, and I'll tell them all the benefits of going on a passenger side approach. And it makes such a difference. There's so many different things that you have control of when you're over there.
Oh, yeah.
But you stay on that driver's side. There's so many things that you cannot. Because I used to work an area where you would go up on the freeway and you would have traffic stops, and I just never felt comfortable being on the driver.
Oh, yeah.
I'd done it a couple times being on the driver's side, but you're on the highway. They're going, 70 miles an hour. Why do you want to be over there?
Yeah.
Get away from them. You have somewhere to jump.
Exactly.
You have somewhere to get to. You have somewhere to get away from.
I mean, sometimes these guys are their own worst enemies.
Right.
They forget about what they're doing there.
Right. There's a very famous video of it's an in-dash car camera video of an officer that walks up to the passenger side of a car, and he's there. But as he's walking up, the driver, he's like looking out the window. You see him doing a lot of furtive movements, looking back, either over his right or left shoulder, and he's waiting, and you see him waiting there. The cop comes up, and he's sitting there for a while, looking through the passenger window at this kid. Well, this kid had a gun in his hand, and he's waiting for the cop to come up, and he's looking for him over his shoulder, just waiting, and he doesn't see the cop standing there on his passenger side watching what he's doing. And so the cop pulls out his gun and he says, show me your hands, and it does the whole thing. Well, the kid decides to get in a shootout with the cop right then. Well, he's got time and distance at this point. He's good to go. He's able to go find cover. He finds a street pole or whatever, and is able to return fire from there. And the kid didn't make to the end of that traffic stop, because he decided to get in a shootout at a position of disadvantage.
Yeah.
And his poor girlfriend, who was sitting in the passenger seat, she's between these two gunfires exchange. She didn't get hit or anything like that, but
Lucky.
she may have to adjust the way she picks her boyfriends from here on out. You know what I mean?
I'm sure she learns, hopefully.
Yeah.
But she learned how to duck quick.
But I'll tell that story every time. I'll find that video and show trainees that video, and like, oh, yeah, I've seen this before. Let's go through it piece by piece, though, and I think it's very important. And like you said, that makes a big difference, because you've been to too many funerals. I don't want to go to them. I don't want to do it. So,
the last 5 deputies that were killed in the line of duty, I was the supervisor on the scene.
Really?
Well, one of the supervisors anyway.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because I was a senior sergeant in the agency, and I always get called. The boss would get, where's Sergeant Topping at? Get him out there. Why me? What do I do?
Because you've done this before. We're kind of shooting.
Got 100 sergeants that work here. Why are you picking on me?
Because we're flying by the seat of our pants on this one. We don't know what's going.
I was always called. They always called me the go-to guy.
Yeah. Well, to get to that point, you went through a lot of crap to get there in the first place to know what to do. So that's
unfortunately.
Yeah. So I know there's a lot of people that say that, I'm no hero or anything like that. And you're on a podcast that's called the What's a Hero podcast. So, you effectively fit the mold. Okay. Whether it's because you were senior sergeant, it's because you were on SWAT, because you were in the Army, because you were on cops, whatever you want to say. If you ask my daughter, it's because you grew up in New York, but yeah, she lives up there. So it's,
oh, okay.
But nevertheless, the idea is a lot of people don't consider themselves a hero. Do you consider yourself a hero?
No, I don't. No,
absolutely not. But that's why you are, I think. You know what I mean?
You're right.
You don't.
No, I never considered myself to be a hero for anything. I was going to do my job, always put my training in place, do my best to my community wherever I was working, or to the country when I was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a wise guy,
Right.
Don't get myself jammed up,
Yeah.
Once the cuffs go on, the fight's over.
Right.
And don't play up to the cameras, especially today, everybody's on video.
Yeah.
Back then, I wasn't on video except for cops.
Right.
But other than that, I didn't play up then because it didn't look good. It looked phony and fake.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't do things to get an award or to get recognized. If you recognize me, hey, great, thank you, I appreciate it. And if I don't, hey, that's great too, thank you.
Right. And you have a number of commendations, hundreds, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably got close to about 180 letters of commendation and appreciations,
medals and honors and everything
medals,
else. Huh?
Yeah, from many from the sheriff to political figures to mayors and governors, local citizens, victims,
wow,
suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Right? From the animal control people, I saved numerous animals in fires and on crash scenes. And then even the guys we got out, the bad guys we called out on the hostage calls, saved them from killing themselves.
Right. They have a chance to rethink their life and say, hey, this guy would save my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can only imagine there's people out there that don't realize who the cop was that saved their life or talk them off the ledge or whatever, the metaphorical ledge or real ledge. Right. They have no idea who you are, but they're like, man, there was this one guy. It's going to ultimately come down to one day there's going to be a recount of your life and they're going to be like, oh, you saved all these people. And you're like, I have no idea who those people are because you did what you were supposed to do.
Right.
And that's my definition of what a hero really is, and that's why, you get invited on the show and we try to have awesome people like that come on here. What would be your definition if you were to give the definition of what a hero is?
I think if you put in a vicarious place where you put your well-being before somebody else's to help or save them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It doesn't have to be anything outlandish and crazy.
Just willing to sacrifice for other people, willing to put other people ahead of you. Yeah, exactly. And I talk to people and they're like, I'm no hero. You are. You really are. And I think it's hard for people to understand that and they are, and their story needs to be told. And I think it's really important that we hear those stories because if we're not sharing those experiences that we've had, how are other people supposed to grow? Especially if we grew from it, how are they supposed to grow from it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because after we were done with the hostage call and they were able to get the guy out, we would just pack up our stuff and leave.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody knew who we were.
Yeah, you're just hoping to get home for dinner.
Just go home and go home and eat and chill out.
Yeah.
And hear about it on the news later.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What while you were a cop, while you were in go mode, while you were there in the thick of it, what was your daily routine? I mean, did you take care of yourself? Did you work out a lot? Did you do any kind of like martial arts, or did you just drink beer and donuts or eat donuts and drink beer as often as possible?
Well, it's funny. Ironically, I don't really like donuts.
Okay.
A beer, I have one beer a year. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. But I used to go bike riding. I was into a little bit of martial arts in the beginning. I did some jiu-jitsu. And turn everything off. Don't bring the job home.
Right.
Not listen to my radio and listen to calls going on all night. Right. No, once I was home, unless I got called out for something, that was a different story. Right.
Right.
I had dinner with my wife, at the time, and not think about what happened because I didn't like taking anything home.
Detach from it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know guys today that'll, way back in the 90s and whatnot, you didn't have emails and you didn't have 40 emails by the time you came back at, 6 hours later or whatever. And,
No.
you go on vacation for a week or two and you got 1,000 emails waiting for you when you get back.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the norm nowadays. But, back then they didn't have that. And I know guys today that they are keeping up on their emails no matter what. The guys on Graveyard, they'll wake up in the afternoon or whatever. Oh, there's an email, or they have their thing ringing. They'll wake up in the middle of their sleep to answer an email. I can't imagine the lack of detachment from there.
It's like an addiction,
right? And and they stress themselves out for it, and they're in their mid-20s and they're aging so fast by stress.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, you have to know when to turn things off.
Yeah. That's word for everybody. Got to know when to shut things off and then take care of yourself, for crying out loud. What's your day-to-day now? What do you do now to keep sane?
It's a good question. I still bike ride when I can, when I feel like I have the energy to do it after dealing with teenagers all day.
Right.
Come home, have a nice meal, watch some TV, maybe relax.
Yeah.
Play on my iPad for a little bit, not looking at emails, and think about my next book I'm going to write.
Perfect. So that brings us to our next one. What you've written 5 books now? Is that right?
Yes.
What are they?
Well, one is called The Hurt. It's a true crime drama I was involved with back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at a rock and roll club. We had a drive-by shooting of one of the bouncers. And initially I wrote that up as a movie script with the help of a script writer.
Uh-huh.
And then I got with it's funny that I was talking to remember going about the cops, the cameraman on the Cops show is now the executive producer for the TV show The Amazing Race.
Oh.
And I got in contact with him, and I go, I don't know if you remember me or not, but you were the camera guy on Cops back in 1989, and we did this. He goes, oh yeah, I remember you. That was the great meat chase we had. Like, what do you remember that? We were chasing the guys who just did a whole bunch of shoplifting of meats, and we were chasing them through the city, and the kids in the back seat were throwing the steaks and the chickens and pork chops at us. As we were chasing them.
I remember that. I remember that episode. I do. I used to watch Cops religiously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the one issue that he remembered, like 500 shows later, he remembers that case. Right?
That's hilarious.
So he goes, I'd love to produce it, but I'm busy with my show. Why don't you have somebody transform it into a book and then book to movie? So I got with this lady in California. We transformed it into a book, which is called The Hurt. That was the first one, right? And then the other one was, it's called The Real Story Behind the Hurt. That takes place after the club closed. 25 years later, the original owner reopens the club and come to find out that he's really a domestic terrorist, and that the only people he hires to work in his club is Antifa and Black Lives Matter people.
Really? And I'm assuming that's correct. That's accurate. That's true, huh?
No, it's not true. No.
Oh man.
Could be, but it's not.
So it goes from true and then it turns into
right.
Okay.
Yeah. The other one is called Look a Quarter. It's an autobiographical anecdotes about my crazy life growing up in New York, through the military, through policing to today.
And that's called what?
Look a Quarter.
Look a Quarter.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get that and take a look at it.
I'm going to go to this amusement park, and we were stuck in a rainstorm, and we had rode our bikes there. It was like about an hour ride to get to this place. And we ran out of money. So we're looking around on the floor underneath the gaming machines for money. The people drop change.
Right.
So we both happen to look under this one machine, and we go, hey, look a quarter. At the same exact time. So I was talking to him about it. He goes, why don't you use this term when we were young at this club, at this place, called Look a Quarter. I said, I'll use it.
That's
so
cool.
I had to explain it in the book, because nobody knows what it means.
Right. Yeah. So it's basically look, a comma, a quarter.
Right.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one is called Operation 1600. That's a political thriller involving a corrupt U.S. president that gets us into a nuclear exchange with Russia.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other one is called The Making of a Monster. It's about a bully little kid that grows up to be a very prolific thrill killer.
Oh, weird. That's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder how accurate that would be. I mean, I'm sure you've talked
Well,
to folks.
it's a little accurate. So I use a lot of real stories in it
Yeah.
from school shootings and school bombings and
hmm
a lot of mayhem and murder and
Yeah, and I think about it from, how many kids there's that chance they grow up to be that because they're either bullied or they are bullies, and they grow up into that mindset just because they don't have somebody speaking into their life, they don't have. Yeah.
I think you see this in that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the making of a monster. Man, that's cool. And can you get all these on like Amazon or whatever? Or?
Yeah, the Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kindle, or Nook.
Okay. Are any of them on Audible?
No.
Okay. One day.
One day. I can get the money up to do it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and that's all right because people need to take their time. They're going to listen to stuff, and they listen to the podcast as opposed to listening to books. Just saying.
Right.
Just kidding. So what made you decide to go become an author too? It's just more time than sense, or
could be.
Okay.
It was pre-pandemic. Maybe a couple of years ago now, at least. We weren't working. Everything was shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So I initially started off with the one book called The Hurt. That started. The idea of that started many, many years earlier, but just recently came to fruition. And that was easy to write because I lived it. I was part of that story. You can even Google the story. You'll see it on Google.
Oh,
right?
cool.
Yeah. And then after that, one after the other, getting these stupid ideas and playing on the computer, typing away and see where the story goes. And
right.
One led to the other, to the other, to the other.
Yeah. When you write a book, do you outline or do you just write as the story progresses?
I just write it as it comes to me, and I might not get to it for another week or two, and then I'll come back and add more paragraphs, and I'll move the paragraphs around. Like the storyline should flow better this way than this way.
Right.
And that could be in page 25 and go, that paragraph needs to be on page 2 and come back to this one. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Now, are you pretty quick with it when you're like, okay, I've got story in my head and I know how it's going to progress. Do you like sit down for an hour and write, 1,000 words an hour, or do you have any idea?
Yeah, pretty much. I sit down. I'll do probably good 500 or 600 words.
Yeah.
And then I get tired of looking at the computer.
Sure.
Then to get away and come back tomorrow.
Right.
Hopefully I save it.
Yeah. Well, the story's going to be different if you didn't, I guess. But no, I know.
Well, I was doing a book on police suicide. And I had a lot of stats, I was on page 92. And the next day I go back and start up with it, and it's gone.
Oh no.
It disappeared from the computer somewhere. I thought I saved it. I thought it was on autosave. I don't know where it went. I had Microsoft help me try to find it. The computer people helped me. It was gone. Oh, I was so pissed off because it was going to be a good one. And I said, screw it, I'm not doing it again.
You haven't revisited it, huh?
No.
Call it good. So we've got Look a Quarter, The Hurt. What was the other ones? And then what was the sequel to The Hurt?
There was the real story behind The Hurt. And Operation 1600. And The Making of a Monster.
Oh, A Making of a Monster. And so what I'm saying, everybody, is you need to go get those books. Check them out. Help a guy out that's always been around helping you out, whether you know it or not. Help him with his retirement. Help him enjoy his retirement. So,
well, thank you.
So would you be able to say now that looking back through all the stuff that you've done, can little Glenn, the kid we talked about at the very beginning, could he look at and look at you now and talk to you if he were to, there's a time machine, could he say, hey, you know what? That's the guy I want to be when I grow up. Do you feel good about that?
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
Yeah. No,
I think he made all the right moves over the years.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we all step on our own feet and get in our own way sometimes and, you know, make some mistakes, but overall in the grand scheme, that kid, he can be proud of who you become, huh?
Oh yeah, I think so.
That's awesome.
No qualms about that.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's so good to know that, and I guess kind of more motivating to others that, no matter what you do, you might make mistakes, you might do something stupid, but
of course
you're going to, in the long run, the legacy you leave, provided you're doing it for the right reasons to serve other people, help other people, is because your intent is to do good and be solid for others.
Yep.
Yeah.
It works.
Cool. Well, do you have any final words for everybody, Glenn? Anything you want to tell anybody, or?
Well, first, Ken, I want to thank you for having me on. It was very nice. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It was fun. Anybody listening that's in this field, I always tell everybody the same exact thing. Do your job, be professional, always fall back on your training. Don't become a bad cop, because one bad cop makes everybody else look bad.
Absolutely.
And go home safe. Nothing else matters.
That's right. That's right. Glenn, I want to thank you for coming on, man. This has been absolutely a pleasure talking with you and having you on here and getting to know you.
Thank you.
And getting to hear some good stories about who you are and the good stuff that you did for other people. And that's absolutely what a hero is. And I, for everybody that you've worked with, worked for, helped out, thank you from me to you. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And you were, like I said, you are more than welcome. Come back on anytime. We can revisit. We can go in depth on the hurt or anything like that. So
yeah, that'd be fun. Sure.
That'd be great. But, yeah. And, I guess until next time, I appreciate you being here, man.
And I appreciate being here.
All right. We will talk with you later.
Take care. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And Glen Topping has left the building, so to speak, or logged off the Zoom meeting, or however you want to say that we were doing this. Obviously, I've had people actually say, hey, you sound like you're in the same room, and sometimes, I can get the audio quality pretty good with editing and whatnot, but the majority of my conversations with folks, they're in other states. Like him, he's in Florida right now. He's obviously not here in where I'm at, and so we have to work on time differences. We got to work on time changes, and we've got to work on, it's evening for one person. It's daytime, morning for me, or whatever. Like there was, we spoke to, I've spoken to people in Canada, in Ireland, in other countries, and obviously, there's a huge difference. And so you've got to adjust your schedule for that. And so when people say, are you, when you see me that I haven't posted a podcast in a little while, and I apologize for that. I know last there's been some time since this one posted, but it's difficult. We really have to work on some logistics in order to get everybody on the same page, which is cool. You really get to work with somebody on something like that, and you get the opportunity to, when you're working with somebody, you get to learn about them. They get to learn about you. You get to network more than just meeting somebody, giving a business card, shaking a hand, and say, oh, yes, I can help you with whatever widget you need to build or put together or whatever. It's more than that. You get to you're working on something, and they get to see who your character is, how you are, whether or not, is this person true to their word when they start working. And it's awesome to actually get to understand and meet people that way. And I really appreciate the people that are willing to work, make things happen, and come on the show. And it's an absolute honor to have everybody that I have on this show come on here. So thank you, everybody. If you want to know more about the show, you can obviously go to our Facebook page. I'm on Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram. We're on there. We're on those shows. We're on those platforms. You can check us out there. You have the actual podcast website is www. The What's a Hero podcast.buzzsprout.com. You can go there. You can find every previous episode we've had before, and you can stream it online, or you can go to, we have a link in there that takes you to whatever podcast platform you like to listen to the show from. You can download the episode from there. Downloads help us. It helps the algorithms. It tells them, oh, hey, these people like this show, and then they can start sharing with other people who are looking for shows to listen to. With that, you can also leave reviews on there. When you leave reviews, that also helps the algorithm start pushing it out to other people, so people start listening to it more often, and they start looking into it, which is cool. We want more people listening to it, because if you can listen to it, you can be part of this. We'll be able to consider you part of the family, which would be awesome. So I'm supposed to say, and this is something that I was told recently, is that you have to subscribe. Okay, so subscribe to the show on whatever iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify or whatever you listen to it on. Subscribe to the show, like it, and clack that like button, like they always say. I'm so new to this whole thing, I don't care. Anyways, you can go in there but leave us a review. Let us know who you are, what you think of the show, what you liked, what you didn't like, what do you think I can do better on. All right, I'm sensitive, so don't be mean. Just kidding, I don't care. Anyways, if you want to get in better shape, say you're a cop and you are getting ready to go to, or you just became one, you're getting ready to go to the academy. You want to get in shape, go to A Dose of Ethos. They can help you get in shape. They can help you prepare for that. They get workout programs. We got things you can get to get yourself in shape for that. If you're a cop that it's been a while since you've been in the academy, and maybe you just got your bell rung fighting a suspect recently, and you were like, you know what? I need to get in better shape. You can get a hold of Dose of Ethos, and they can give you programs to help you get into shape. You need to be ready. You are a tactical athlete. You need to be ready to help yourself. If you can't help yourself, you won't be able to help anybody else. So get in shape. Do you work out every day? No, I don't work out every day. You should work out every day. You should be doing something, and not just bodybuilding stuff. That's great, but it's not going to help you when it comes time to do a knockdown drag out for 4 or 5 minutes until your backup gets there. And then there's no guarantee that your backup's going to be in great shape. You know, we've all seen those cops. We've all seen those guys, or even if it's firefighters, we've all seen those guys that, kind of let themselves go. Maybe too much stress is on their mind or whatever. And they just, are they going to be able to be that one that's going to back you up? You got to think, you may not have that. So you have to get into shape. Go get into shape. And if it's a Dose of Ethos that you go after, that's cool. Use the code when you go in there and you check out. Use the code What's a Hero. You'll get 10% off whatever they've got going on in there. That's products, that's programs, all that stuff like that. So like shirts, hats, all that stuff you can get from them. But if it's not Dose of Ethos, you still need to be working out. You still need to get into shape. There are programs up the wazoo. There's things on YouTube. There are ways to get into shape. If you do martial arts, you should do something. You should be doing something physical and something combative to get your mindset in that position to be able to take care of yourself and your partners. So I highly recommend it, and I really want you to be able to do that. If your department or whatever has a gym that you can work at, take advantage of it. If they have a program where they pay you back for going to the gym and for fitness memberships, take advantage of that. If you know of a good dojo or jiu-jitsu school near your home, take advantage of those places. Go in there and get in the mix every once in a while. It's going to change your mindset. It's going to change the way you look at it. So you have to do it. It can't just be go to work, go home, drink some beer, eat some food, get some sleep, go back to work. It can't be that. You have to do other stuff. So that's my soapbox. I'm sticking to it. If you're not a cop, and let's say you are a nurse or a firefighter or a teacher or an EMT or a veteran, and you have let yourself go, take advantage of those same exact things. You are just as important. We need you to be at the top of your game. And with that, we appreciate every single one of you guys. Every single one. I don't care if you do any one of those, if any one of those professions I just mentioned. If you didn't do that, if you were not the one that was doing that, who would be the one doing that? And would you be comfortable having that person come to your house and come to your aid and help you? Think about it. if it wasn't you. A lot of times we look at things, we're like, I want to do it because I want to do it. I want to do it right. I want to do it my way. Because you do it right. So it boils back down to, are you that person that somebody wants to say, you know what, I need this done. I need it done right by the right professional. Are you that one that's coming in to do that the right way? I want my kid taught the right way by somebody who cares. That's the kind of teachers that we need. I need my bandages changed. I need whatever fixed on me. I need someone to look after me. Are you that nurse that's able to do that and do it the right way? Are you that firefighter that is going to cut a hole in that roof, or you're going to be busting in that door and saving that baby out of that burning building? Are you the one that everybody's like, I want it done right, and this is the one I have to do it? Are you that EMT that's putting in the IV right, or that is administering the right amount of whatever medication because that's what's needed right then and there? Are you the one that people will be like, I want it done right? And are you that one? I hope you are. And that's why we want you to be that way. You're that police officer who is showing up and making the right decision, knows his law, knows his case law, knows what policy says, and knows what he's supposed to do when he gets on scene. Are you that police officer? And are you that veteran that is willing to fight and survive for the partner next to him? Not so much, because there's a point where you go beyond, fighting for your country, which we appreciate and we know. However, what you're doing is you talk to a lot of those guys, you talk to a lot of those veterans or whomever, you're thinking about the person next to you. That's the brother, that's the sister in which you're fighting for. And then everybody back home whom you're fighting for, because that's what is needed. So keep in mind that you need to take care of yourself as much as you need to take care of others. You need to be prepared to do what you need to do. And with that, not only comes physical health, but mental health. If you're struggling, you need to talk to somebody. You need to call somebody out, get a peer to come alongside you, or you need to just go to a therapist, or you need to go talk to somebody and get whatever is stressing you out. You've been gaining weight because you're stressing so much or whatever. You might need to get that weight off your shoulders before you get that weight off your belly. And that they may work hand in hand, but talk to somebody if you need to talk to somebody. And I've said it a million times on here, and I'll say it again, talk to somebody. And if you see somebody that you know that is not their normal self, you need to talk to them. You need to call them out, not in a negative way, but as a brother or a sister, and say, hey, how are you doing? You want to talk about something. You don't seem like your normal self. Maybe have you considered talking to somebody? Do you want to talk to me, or whatever the case may be? But be willing to step out of your comfort zone to help others. And step out of your own comfort zone to help yourself. So those services, those nurses, those teachers, those veterans, firefighters, EMTs, police officers, law enforcement across the country, thank you for the service that you provide and the person and the people that you are. Without you, we wouldn't have the country that we have today. So with that, I do want to just say that if you ever think that you are not important, or you are not that person, like how does somebody like Glen Topping come in and just do all these things and know what he's doing, and how do I get to that? You may already have that. You need to trust yourself. You need to have confidence in yourself. You are way more better than you give yourself credit for sometimes. And you have to remember that, because this challenge that you may be going through right now may be the greatest challenge in your life, and you don't even know it. And this will be the thing that changes your life for the better. Don't look at this challenge and say, oh, why is this happening to me? Look at this challenge as this is happening to you because this is going to make you the better person. That person, that young version of you, that little kid that you think about all the time, that used to be you, running around, getting in trouble, or riding on bikes, or playing your trumpet, or your whatever, that little kid, you are now going to be that person that kid wants to grow up to be. And so you have to look at it that way, that you have more value and more importance than you give yourself credit for. Keep it up. keep being you and work on yourself. Prepare, and get yourself ready for whatever challenge you might be facing, because you never know what challenge is coming up next. So with that, I want to thank Glen Topping for coming on the show. And I want to thank all the other guests that I've had on here. You guys have been awesome. And until next time, for Glen Topping, I have been Ken Frownfelter. And this has been the What's a Hero podcast. We are clear.